Just look at the smile on my face. This is probably one of my favorite series, commercial versus film grading, and this time it's inspired by the pandemic that we're going through, so that is the commercial side of it. And basically, I'm gonna be using this isolation, how it's a good thing. So this guy being by himself, if he stays that way and protect himself from others, this can in turn create a bright future. And then on the other hand, the film grade is inspired by Chernobyl, one of my all-time favorite shows. And I'm taking this, dingy green that they use to kind of create the sickly feel. And that's what's gonna create the film grade. And they're both extreme, commercial and film grading on this one. So there's gonna be tons of opportunities to take notes and understand a different kind of process. This time I'm kind of taking my note tree, but then building off that and giving you a more realistic example of like when I'm working on real world projects, how I'm approaching it. And sometimes I just have to go away from my node tree, but it's not a bad thing. Sometimes film grades can have more nodes than the commercial grade. It's always gonna just depend on what it is that you're working on. Guys, 1 day left to sign up for my class. Today is the last day to sign up for my masterclass. 25 plus hours worth of content, 150 plus training videos, access to over 100 gigs worth of professionally shot log footage, invitation to a mastermind group where we hold weekly competitions, and I'm talking about 2-hour group session where I go through everyone's grade and break it down and give you personalized feedback. The courses consist of 9 total modules as of today, and I'm gonna be adding another one very soon. And the way it's laid out, it's perfect for somebody who knows nothing about Resolve to maybe somebody who's intermediate but really wanna take their game to the next level. The goal with this masterclass is very simple. I want you to learn in weeks what took me years to learn. I'm so confident that I'm throwing in a hassle-free 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied. Join thousands of members that are part of FCM culture and have achieved unimaginable results. Enrollment ends soon. Join now. The link is in the description or in the comments below. On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm dropping value bombs there every single day. Let's roll the intro. All right, I'm so pumped about this one. Let's just watch the shot through a few times and then we're gonna dive in and come up with a game plan, okay? So there you go. Such a freaking epic shot. Just, it's insane. So super, super flat, which means, world is our oyster. We can do whatever the hell we want. So first time, we're going to create the commercial look, then we're going to move on to the film look. And this time, the way I'm going to set it up is that commercial look is going to be sort of like a stepping stone for our film grade. Okay, so this is how everything is going down. So here for the commercial, the purpose is simple. This could be a public service announcement where, hey, stay home, stay isolated so we can have a better future. What's important to me here is that I want clean, crisp feel and look with the hint of life. And the life is going to be the brown, the earthy colors, right? So in this case, I'm looking at this. And if I bring this platform to life along with our character, like if the focus is our character, if our sky is looking clean and crisp, then we're creating that vibe. So we're going to use some color separation. We're going to use some color isolation and the blend of a bunch of different things that I've taught on this channel in my masterclass and everything. So let's just get going, okay? First node is going to be our general contrast. So I'm going to just call it exposure and then let's start doing it. So right here in my contrast. And then the second node is going to be our balance, and it will also be our saturation. And then the next one is going to be my look. This is where we're going to start creating the look. And this time I'm going to do a layer mixer and I'm going to do another layer mixer. Okay. So we're going to build these as we go. So we'll figure it out. I'm just going to leave them as is for now. And then we're going to have a look adjustment. And then the rest, we're just going to build it out as we go. So let's just leave it at that for now and let's start building it out. So exposure, contrast, I'm going to start with that and not do something too crazy. So I'm going to leave it somewhere around here, lift my mids a little bit, something like that. Again, not too crazy. Lift my gain a little bit, bring my lift down. And it's a very gentle little exposure adjustment that we did right there. Let's move on to our balance. Let's start it up with cranking some saturation. I'm just going to take it all the way. It's okay. And now I want to kind of balance my image. So right now it's leaning a lot toward green, and we can see that here. So I'm just going to go into my gamma, and basically my focus is all these midtones, and I want to pull the color out. And this is also a good anchor. So let's make this brown, like the color of the wood instead of what it is. So I'm going to start going up in my gamma and getting some of that color out of it and keep it somewhere around here. Now I'm going to take my gain and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to get some of that blue and teal that we got going on out. So move it up, do the extreme, and then pull it back. Something like that. And then, I mean, this is looking pretty good for color separation. Basically, what we want to do is just get our colors apart as much as possible. And then let's see, hold on. Something like that. Now I'm just shifting my gamma a little bit. Let's get some of that magenta out. I'm going to take my lift and pull out some of the red from the undertones. Taking my gamma, bringing some of the wood color back, taking my lift and moving it away from the green. And it's always going to be that dance. You guys know what I'm talking about. So this is looking pretty decent for our balance as of now. Okay, so where we were before to where we are, big difference. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go into my look. And first thing that I want to do is right click here and turn it into soft light. And that's really going to give us this crazy punch. It almost feels like a punch in the gut. Like you're like, dude, this is crazy. That's totally fine. Another thing that I want to do is I want to go under my saturation and just crush it. Just take out all the saturation. Now we can go back in our exposure and try to lift our lift up and bring some of that information back. And then go into our gain and play around with it. Bring up our gamma a little bit. Bring our gain down, gamma up, gain down, gamma up, because the purpose of this grade is to bring hope. So we don't want to make it too dramatic and too crazy. So this is looking pretty good. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go into my hue versus saturation. And what I really want to do is raise it up first and see what is happening. And then I can look at my colors that I want to keep. And then I will isolate everything else. So let's just keep it up there, up top. And now what I want to do is, I don't necessarily need these blues or that much information in the sky. So I'm going to grab it from here and I'm going to start bringing it down a little bit. And now I'm getting those clean whites, which I like. And I'm going to move it around a little bit. I'm going to leave it somewhere around here. And if I do before and after, like really broad strokes, but look at the life that it brought in, the life that I wanted, and then excluded everything else. You guys follow? I mean, we created a really stylized image, okay? Insanely stylized image. I'm going to go in here and I'm not going to mess with anything as of now. I'm just going to leave it as is. And then later on, we can go in and create some cool stuff. But since we're working on a commercial, you know, we got to like top it off and bottom. Like we really got to expand that dynamic range and get the most out of our image. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn on my editable splines. I'm going to click on this guy and I'm going to raise this up quite a bit. Okay. Like I really want to give it extra pop. And now I'm happy with where my highlights are. Like it really brings everything up. Like it adds a really nice pop and I'm liking it. So I'm going to leave it there. Here, I'm going to click on this guy. And what I want to do is I want to grab this part of the image and really have a better control on that. Okay, so I'm just going to go in and qualify it. I'm going to grab it. We've created enough separation where we should be able to get a really good key. So let's test it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to start pulling it until it's only grabbing this part. I'm going to see if we can isolate it even more. See if we can isolate it even more. Move this around, something like that. This is looking good. Hold on, keep going. Okay, so this is looking good. Now I'm going to go and in my denoise, I'm going to take it up to about 10-ish. I'm going to take my blur radius and I'm going to crank it up to 30-ish. And now what's going to happen is that just keep your eyes right here, okay? So I want to pump in some really good color in this wood, okay? So I'm just using my gamma to really, really put emphasis there. Just before and after, big difference, right? So I'm just going to exaggerate it. Because like I said, I mean, we're adding life here and then we're controlling it everywhere else. So now it's doing a lot of work here too. I don't necessarily want that. I personally don't want that. I just want this to be the focus and then our dude, and then, you know, the rest can be whatever. So the way I'm going to control it is this. I'm going to go in, create a custom shape, something like this. And then I'm going to just bring it here, close it off. And now I'm going to do Shift H and give it some give. So just a little bit, and then pull this in, something like that. And now what I'm going to do is next step is to track it. So let's track forward and it latches on, perfect track. Click right here, track back. Perfect track, latches on. If I do play it back, it's looking great. So now what it's doing is if I go back in here and turn it on and off, you'll see how much more color will come back in here, which is something that I don't want. So if I do before, see how much color is going in there. But if I do after, then the focus becomes what I want the focus to be. All right, so now if I play it, just check it out. So after we isolate it, we can just pump in a little bit more color. So I'm going to keep going there, keep pumping in some color, raising it up, and then park it right there somewhere. And another thing that I can do is I can go under my curves and kill my editable spline and just really try to pull it down a little bit, not too much, something like that. And I think I'm going to leave it here for now. Like, I'm really happy with what's happening. I'm really happy with the result. I'm going to park it somewhere around here. Now what I want to do is create another layer and pretty much just isolate our dude. So I'm just going to take this, basically this entire section, isolate this section right here, and then feather it out quite a bit. So I'm just going to go and keep feathering it. Keep going, quite a bit, right? So I want to do a couple of things. One, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn on my editable splines. I'm going to take this top end and raise it. And now my focus is just my dude. Like, I really want to, like, he's the hope, you know? So really want to bring him out, bring this area out. And now what I want to do is create an outside node. So I'm just going to go in, right click and say outside node. Now I'm going to go in here and check off my editable spline and just grab my curve from somewhere around here and then pull it down. Not too much. So when I say not too much, I'm like really keeping my eye right here and just making sure that we're not bringing this down too much. We just want to create a little shape. And now another thing that I want to do is I want to go in here, luminance versus saturation, and I want to say, hey, grab my white points and pull the saturation out. So look at the clouds. If I do before, see there's color in there, and now it's just pure white. Okay, so I'm pulling color out of that. That's what's happening there. And this is where I'm going to leave this node. And if I take these two, look at, we're shaping light and it's making all the difference in the world. Before, after. Subtle difference, but pretty huge, okay? How much it's adding. So at this point, what we want to do is create another node, call it a global adjustment at this point. And here, if I can spell it right, and here what I want to do is just sort of like the final touches, right? So what I want to do is go in here, take my low soft, basically the bottom part, and I want to lift it. And just keep your eye here, how it creates like this nice little roll off. And with this, now if I take my actual lift and bring it down, see, it creates a really nice film-like effect. enriches everything. Like look at the water, look at the wood. Everything is just like really, really freaking nice. Like it just adds that little finishing touch, a bow tie, if you will. Okay. This is our commercial grade. Now, if I play it through and look at what we did is what we intended to do. Make our dude pop out, make the sky really pure and clean, add some life to the image to have some hope, which we did with our platform, and isolate all the other colors. So tons of isolation. Now, did we overdo this? It's up to you. I mean, we can easily go in here and kind of split the difference. I can go in my key and go, you know what? Let's just kind of keep it somewhere around here. Let's not overdo it. And I think it's a good decision to not overdo it. And now if we just park it somewhere around here, that's our final look for the commercial grade. So let me just uncheck all of this and then go one by one. So this is where we started. We did our exposure, then we punched in tons of color and balanced our image. And in here, we basically turned everything to soft light in our composite layer, pulled out a lot of color, then injected the color where we wanted it, and moved on to our look adjustment and popped everything up to kind of just give it that life. Went in and brought out our wood and then balanced it out and controlled it in our layer mixer. Went in and popped our dude out more to put the emphasis where it's supposed to be, brought everything else around him down, and then in our global adjustment added a little bit more contrast, and then this was our final look for the commercial version. Let's check out the final look in full screen. Let's move on to the film grade. Now, for the film aspect of it, we're basically going to take this as our base grade, and then we're going to build on that. And we're going for that Chernobyl, that sickly green, okay? So I'm just going to bring this in and show you kind of like what my inspiration is. And then we're not doing one-to-one. We're just using that. Like, look at the green up here, then the blue, then the red, and then how the red is at the bottom and the cyan is up. You know, the green is up and the blues are up. So that's sort of like our inspiration, okay? But I'm not going to check it out anymore. I'm just going to build that look now, how it will fit in this scene. So basically, it's going to be based on 3 layer nodes, okay? That's what it's going to be. And this is going to be our look, film look, cinematic look, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be our sky, and this is going to be our platform. Okay. Or this one, actually, let me just call it highlights. So this is going to be our highlights. So that's our setup. Got it? So in our look node, I'm just going to use my gamma. Okay. And I'm going to start pumping in a lot of green, and I'm going to pump it until it feels right. So let's just get going. Trying to make it really, really sickly. Okay. And what I need to do first is actually turn these 2 off so I can actually see what I'm doing. So let me just reset that again. That's what you got to do, because the way the layer mixers work, whatever is at the bottom takes precedent. So I'm going to hide these 2. I'm going to work in this one. So let me just start giving it that green that I'm going for, the sickly green. And I don't want to overdo it. So this, to me, is looking pretty sickly. Maybe I can split the difference. Let's exaggerate it first, and then let's pull it back. So this is too much. Let's keep it at too much, and then we're going to figure it out. So now what I want back is my dude, like the highlights, I want them to still be crisp. I don't want them to just kind of blend into that green mush, okay? So that's where I'm going to go in here and go under my qualifier, and then have a really soft roll off here, and then start increasing it. So just, I'm going to hit Shift H so you guys can see what we're controlling. And all I want to do is just grab the top end. And now if I hit Shift H, I brought the whites back in those area, and then I let the rest be, you know, that green. But let's just pull it back a little bit so we can like really blend it in better. Something like that. And now what I want to do is split the difference. So I'm going to go in here because I still want it to kind of blend. I don't want it to just jump out and look completely different. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start pulling it back to kind of split the difference. So keep it somewhere around 6 or 7-ish. And we can see our whites being white. Another thing that I want to do, because I don't like this dingy green coming into the sky too much. And if you want to control that, let's go back in here, click on our window, create this grad, put it up here, invert it, and then Shift H and see what we're affecting. And we're going to do something like that. So basically, we don't want to affect this. We want to affect the rest. That's what's happening. So now, actually click on that to turn it on. Now we can see it. So we're leaving the top as is. And you will see, if I turn this off, just keep your eyes right here in this area. I'm turning it off. Boom. See all this green, this gunky green, and it's going to create so much artifacting. But if I turn it on, boom, it cleaned it right up. And we don't have to track this since there's not much going on. So we can just leave it right there and that's doing its job. Now, if I go back in here, turn it on and off, I still want my highlights to be pristine. And that's also helping. And then finally, I can go on this node and then activate it. And what I really want to do is hold down Option, click on node 8 and drag and drop it in here. Now, when I go in here, basically, I wanted to copy paste the window and the tracking data, but I do not want to copy the actual color because that's too much. So I'm going to click here and turn it off. So now if I do on and off, basically what I did is I brought this color back. I say, hey, don't affect this node, affect everything else around it, like keep the green everywhere else, don't keep it in here. And then we, pull the green out of our whites as well. So this might look just too shocking. If I hit Command W and then come back out of it, it might look too shocking, like it just like pops out too much. So again, we can go in our window and we can control it. So now I can pull it back and kind of keep it at a point where it's picking up some of that green, but not enough. So it's still leaving me with that color that I wanted, that life that I wanted, even here. But mostly it's, the Chernobyl look is like everything is just wrecked, everything is messed up, and we're kind of living in that world, okay? So if we look at it, these 3 nodes, what they did, this was our commercial grade, and then this is our Chernobyl grade. And then one more thing I want to do in my highlights is that I'm going to go in and I'm going to just add a little bit of green. So I'm going to take my gain and I'm going to push it in the green, but just a touch. So just watch what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just trying to make it a little bit more believable. So even something like that. So it takes that color and kind of balances it out. Maybe not that much. So let's just go back, split the difference a little bit. And I think that is doing a really nice job. And if this is bothering you because it's just too much, it doesn't bother me. I think it looks good. I'm actually going to leave it. That's just a choice that I'm making because I want to add a lot of drama here. And then finally, this is like an extracurricular. What I want to do is I want to add some more punch into my image, although there is a lot of punch, but I'm going to go in here, take my low soft and like really lift them to give it that film look and keep it somewhere around here. And now I want to go into my lift and bring it down to create that sort of feel. And now lift this even more. Bring my lift down. And then I'm going to go into my gamma and lift it a little bit. And take my gain and bring it down. Because one thing you need to realize about movies is that, the exposure is not always touching the top. So you really need to keep it somewhere around here, bring my lift up, and bring my... So if I do before and after, it's just kind of giving it a nice film roll off, and that's all it's doing. Not too much, not too little. And another thing that I want to do is just go into my log wheels and I'm going to take my highlights and I'm going to raise them. So I'm going to take my highlights and kind of almost hit the top with that. And now you can see it just, this is before and this is after. So it added so much more pop, right? In the highlights, like look at right there, right here. It was able to add like even right here, it made the whites like pure whites. and then it just gave it a really nice roll off on the knee with this technique right here, low soft. And we can control our low soft a little bit more too. So I can keep it somewhere around here. So guys, this is our film look. Let's just do one more. So I'm going to bring in my grain as always, but this time I'm going to kind of go nuts with the grain. So I'm going to show you a different kind of grain because I'm inspired by Chernobyl in this one. So they really had that 16 millimeter feel and look. So if I do this reversal, maybe not reversal, I'm going to go to print. How much it's adding, we can go in and raise it even more and like really make it pronounced. So look at it before and after, and it just gives it so much more of that character. If I play it through, it's heavy, I know. I love it. I mean, maybe we can bring down the size a little bit. We can bring down, and let's watch it through. Yeah, that looks good. So something like that. Come on, guys. Tell me this is not amazing what we just created. So in this particular example, we added more nodes in our film grade than our commercial grade, which is usually the opposite of what I've shown you. But again, every film is different. Every commercial is different. And sometimes when you're creating a really, really extreme look, you're going to have to do that. So I'm going to turn all of this off and then go one by one to where we started to where we ended up for our film grade. So this was our before image. It started with the exposure, did some balance, and then made sure to put this on soft light. And I'm actually going to turn this on first so we see the difference, and then turn it, black and white, killed all the saturation, and then brought a lot of the color back where we wanted it, and gave our image some pop with editable splines, and just put a lot of life into that, platform right here. Brought him out, by creating a window and again, editable splines. Did an outside node, brought everything else down around him by using regular curves, and then pulled the saturation out by using luminance versus saturation. Went into our global adjustment and did low soft here to just kind of give it a really nice roll offs on the bottom end. And then here is when we started creating the film look. So created that Chernobyl green, in my midtones, and then pulled my highlights out, by creating a window so it doesn't affect the sky, and then went in here and actually used the qualifier, luminance qualifier, and then brought more of that out and then neutralized the colors a little bit by using our gain just to kind of, not have so much magenta and make it look realistic. Went in and brought our platform information from node 8 and made sure to pull the color out and just leave it as is. We just wanted the window and isolation because we're using a layer mixer. So we wanted to pull that out, and then went into our key and really adjusted the strength there to make it look realistic and blend into this particular scene. Went in and did some more contrast work to really pop everything out and have really nice film highlights and shadows like roll-offs. Went in to create a 16 millimeter grain, which just added so much character and really got it close to that Chernobyl look. And here's our final look. Let's check it out in full screen. I hope you guys had a blast. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to sign up for my masterclass, literally last day left. And if you want to step up your filmmaking game, not just color grading game, this is the course for you. It teaches you the hard skills, the soft skills, and everything in between. Make sure to check it out. Don't miss the opportunity. Link is in the description. On that note, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for more awesomeness, and I will see you guys in the next video.